Good morning. Welcome back. In today's session, we will continue our learning process of Class 7 Geography Term 3, Unit 3, Natural Hazards, Understanding of Disaster Management in Practice. This is part 3 of the video series. Come dears, let us learn. Before going into today's session, let us have a recap of what we learned in the last ones. Dear children, in the last sessions we discussed about disaster and hazards. Dears, a hazard is a dangerous phenomenon, substance, human activity, condition that may cause loss of life, injury, health impacts, property damage, loss of livelihoods, services, social and economic disruption or environmental damage. Natural hazards are classified into two: geophysical and biological. A disaster is a serious disruption in the society causing widespread material, economic, social or environmental losses which exceed the ability of the affected society to cope using its own resources. We also learned about earthquake, which is a sudden movement or trembling of the earth's crust. The causes of earthquake are movement of tectonic plates, mass wasting, landslides, surface fault, etc. The effects due to strong earthquake are loss of lives, buildings, roads, bridges and dams. Earthquake can cause floods, tsunamis, landslides, fires, breakdown of water supply and electrical lines. It may cause the change in course of a river. We also learned about tsunamis. That is, when earthquake jolts the ocean floor, the sudden dislocation of the seabed occurs and resulting displacement of water can produce one or more huge destructive waves collectively called as tsunamis. The effects of tsunami are flooding and disrupts transportation, power communication and water supply. Flood is another natural disaster which happens when there is sudden overflow of water in large amount, and it can be caused due to heavy rainfall, cyclone, melting of snow, tsunami or bursting of a dam. The effects are loss of life and property, displacement of people and spread of contagious diseases like cholera and malaria. A low pressure area which is encircled by high pressure wind is called as a cyclone. The effects of cyclone include heavy rain, strong wind, large storm surges near landfall and tornadoes. Dears, in this session we will discuss about the man-made disasters. The first one we will discuss is of stampede. S-T-A-M-P-E-D-E, stampede. Stampede is the sudden rush of a crowd of people, usually resulting in injuries and death from suffocation and trampling. That is, when there is a disturbance in the crowd of people, what happens? They move here and there, and there will be resulting in injuries. People may fall and they will be stamping on that and going. People will suffocate and they will suffer injuries. It is believed that most major crowd disasters can be prevented by simple crowd management strategies. It is not difficult to control the crowd. If you have proper crowd management strategies, crowd management technique, you can always prevent such kind of crowd disasters. Human stampedes can be prevented by organization and traffic control, such as barriers, following cues and by avoiding mass gathering. You can prevent these stampedes by having a correct organization, having a plan and having the control of traffic and providing barriers, that is preventing huge people or large amount of people to cross at the same time, and following queue system or token system, and by avoiding mass gathering. You should prevent people from gathering in large numbers. Another man-made disaster is fire. Fire is a disaster caused due to electrical short circuit, accidents in chemical factory, match and crackers factory. So fire can be caused due to electrical short circuit. There is a short in the circuit, as well as some accidents in the chemical factory or the accidents in match and cracker factory. Fire involves three basic aspects. There are three important aspects for fire. The first one is prevention, second one detection, third one extinguishing. So first step is you have to prevent the fire. Second step is to detect or identify the fire, and third one is to put it off or extinguish the fire. So three aspects are prevention, detection and extinguishing. Now, public awareness of what to do before fire, during fire and after fire is of critical importance. It is very, very important that people should be aware of what has to be done before a fire or during a fire and after a fire. That's why in our school we have a mock fire drill, isn't it, children? Every year you are asked to assemble in the assembly, and the fire service people will come and we will have a demonstration of how to evacuate ourselves from the building during the time of a fire. There will be a bell and you will be coming along the corridors and through the stairs in an orderly manner. That will prevent the stampede also. You will be asked to come in line and follow the instructions, and there will be drill to do that, and people from fire and safety department of our school will come and do the work. The picture you can find the fire spreading, the forest fire spreading, and you can see the fire engine people, the fire people coming and extinguishing, trying to extinguish. There is a building also which is affected by fire, and you can see the people, firemen, trying to control it. Another man-made disaster is industrial disaster. When industries are set up, there will be a chances of leaks or hazardous materials residue getting leaked. Industries face multiple risks involved with its production, transportation, storage, usage and disposal of the effluents containing residuals and hazardous materials from nuclear and chemical industries. You can find the industrial waste being leaked or getting mixed with the environment. Example we can say is the unfortunate event of Bhopal gas leakage, which is also called as a Bhopal disaster, which is the worst industrial disasters. It happened on the night of 2nd to 3rd December in 1984 in the Union Carbide India Limited pesticide plant in Bhopal. At least 3,787 people were killed in it. And the chemical which was the reason for that is methyl isocyanate. It turned the city into a vast gas chamber. Dears, having learnt about man-made disaster, natural disaster and hazards, let us learn what is disaster management. What is disaster management? What is it actually? How can we manage a disaster? Dears, it is a systematic process of applying administrative directives. That is, they will give instructions, organizations and operational skills and capacities. So we are applying directives and organizations and your operational skills and capacities to implement strategies. They will implement strategies, policies and improved coping capacities in order to lessen the adverse impacts of hazards and the possibility of disaster is called as disaster management. So dear children, disaster management is applying some directives and organizations and your skills and capacities to implement some method or strategy and policy and to lessen the adverse impacts of hazard and rule out the possibility of a disaster. That is called as a disaster management. Now you will be wondering, why should we have disaster management? Disaster management is necessary or expedient. Expedient, E-X-P-E-D-I-E-N-T, expedient. Expedient means an action or convenient and practical, although possibly improper or immoral. That is to attain an end, to put an end to. Needs prevention, mitigation, preparedness, response, recovery and rehabilitation. So it is necessary for the prevention, mitigation, preparedness, response, recovery and rehabilitation. Prevention. The best way to address a disaster is by being proactive, that is, identify the potential hazards and devising the safeguards to mitigate their impact. The second step is mitigation. Mitigation is to minimize the loss of human life that would result from a disaster. Preparedness is a process in which individuals, communities, businesses, organizations can plan and train for what they will do in the event of a disaster. Response is what happens after the disaster occurs. It involves both short-term and long-term responses. Recovery process can take a long time. It is about helping individuals, communities, businesses and organizations return to the normal or a new normal depending on the impact of the disaster. Dear children, 6 disaster management phases that have been used in the concept of disaster cycle are as follows. You can see the pre-disaster or risk reduction phase and post-disaster recovery phase. You have preparedness, mitigation, prevention, response, recovery and development. Now let us learn about them in detail. Pre-disaster phase, that is prevention and mitigation. Dears, reducing the risk of disasters involves activities which either reduce or modify the scale and intensity of the threat faced or by improving the conditions of elements at risk. The use of term reduction to describe protective or preventive actions that lessen the scale of impact is therefore preferred. Mitigation is embracing all measures taken to reduce both the effects of the hazard itself and the vulnerable conditions to it in order to reduce the scale of future disaster. So, the meaning of prevention is reducing the risks and to taking the preventive actions to reduce the impact of the hazard or disaster. And mitigation is the effort that is taken to reduce the effects of hazard itself and the conditions that will follow it. For example, in the case of a flood, people could be evacuated, people could be moved from the area to a safer place. Not only that, moving them to a safer place does not means it is the end of the process. They have to be taken care of. They provide food and shelter and clothing. Plus there should be the prevention of the waterborne diseases like malaria and cholera. So that also comes under prevention and mitigation. Yes, in addition to these physical measures, mitigation should also be aimed at reducing the physical, economic and social vulnerability to threats and the underlying causes for this vulnerability. Therefore, mitigation may incorporate addressing issues such as land ownership, tenancy rights, wealth distribution, implementation of earthquake-resistant building codes, etc. So, it also prevents the disaster as well as it will help the people to overcome from that. The next phase is the preparedness. The preparedness is the process includes various measures that enable the governments, communities and individuals to respond rapidly to disaster situation to cope with them effectively. The government or the individual or community will respond in a better manner, in a quicker manner to disaster situation, and it will be able to cope up with them effectively. The preparedness includes the formulation of viable emergency plans. What are the plans that has to be implemented? Development of warning systems. People should be aware or warned about the incoming disaster. Maintenance of inventories, public awareness and education, and the training of personnel. So it includes the formulation of plans, development of warning system, maintenance of inventories, and public awareness and education, and training of the personnel. It may also include the search and rescue measures. It will include search and rescue measures as well as evacuation plans for areas that may be at high risk from a recurring disaster. The area which is prone to landslide or flood, they must have a search and rescue measures as well as an evacuation plan. All preparedness planning need to be supported by appropriate rules and regulations. There must be some rules and regulations for this, as well as clear allocation and responsibilities and budgetary provisions. There must be allocation of responsibilities as well as the budgetary provisions for that. The next important thing is early warning. That is the process of monitoring the situation in communities or areas known to be vulnerable to slow onset hazards and passing the knowledge of the pending hazard to people harmless way. So the message should be given to the people in a harmless way, and there must be given enough time to prepare themselves for that. To be effective, warnings must be related to mass education and training of population who know what actions they must take when warned. So people should be trained, should be educated, and training should be given to the people and regarding what to know and what actions has to be taken and when the warning has to be given. The next one is the impact of disaster. This refers to the real-time event of a hazard occurrence and affecting elements at risk. So we have to see what time duration the hazard is going to happen and what are the elements that are at risk. The duration of an event will depend on the type of threat. The duration could be a matter of seconds in the case of an earthquake, or if it is in the case of a flood, it may take longer time. The duration of event will depend on the type of threat. Ground shaking may occur in a matter of seconds during an earthquake, whereas a flood may take place over a longer sustained period. Now let us see the response that should happen during the disaster phase. This is the first stage response to any calamity or disaster. That is, including setting up of control rooms, putting the contingency plan in action. Whatever, there must be a control room for controlling the activities, as well as there must be a action that has to happen according to the plan we have made. Issue warning, action of evacuation, taking people to safer areas, and rendering medical aid to the needy, simultaneously rendering relief to the homeless, food, drinking water, clothing to the needy, and restoration of communication, disbursement of assistance in cash or kind. So this is the first stage where you have setting up of control rooms and putting the plan into action, giving proper warning and taking evacuation action, taking people to the safer areas, and providing medical aid and relief like food, drinking water and clothing to the needy, as well as restoring the communication means and dispersing the cash. The emergency relief activities undertaken during and immediately following a disaster. What are the things that has to be taken during and immediately after a disaster is which includes immediate relief like rescuing the people, that is the first response, and the damage needs assessment, The assessment has to be made about the damage that has happened and the debris clearance. The debris has to be cleared off after the disaster. So this is the first phase response. Now we will move on to the post-disaster phase, that is a recovery. Recovery is used to describe the activities that encompass the three overlapping phases of emergency relief, rehabilitation and reconstruction. Now we will learn what is rehabilitation. So recovery will happen only during the emergency relief and the rehabilitation and the reconstruction. That includes the recovery. Now let us see what is rehabilitation. Rehabilitation includes the provision of temporary public utilities and housing as interim measures to assist long-term recovery. So there must be a provision for temporary public utilities and housing. The reconstruction attempts to return communities with improved pre-disaster functioning. The communities has to be rehabilitated to the place where they were already existing. So that is the meaning of reconstruction. It includes replacement of buildings, infrastructure and lifeline facilities so that long-term development prospects are enhanced rather than reproducing the same conditions which made an area or population vulnerable. So reconstruction is not bringing it back to normalcy but improved prospects which make the people vulnerable. The next is the development phase. The next step is development. Dear children, in an evolving economy, the development process is an ongoing activity. It is not a stopped activity, it is a continuous activity. Long-term prevention or disaster reduction measures like construction of embankments against flooding, irrigation facilities as drought-proofing measures, increasing plant cover to reduce the occurrence of landslides, land use planning, construction of houses capable of withstanding the onslaught of heavy rain, wind speed, and shocks of earthquakes are some of the activities that can be taken up as part of the development plan. So by following the correct method of prevention in that particular area, we can have the development of that area. It is time to wind up today's session. Before winding up, let us have a recap of what we learned in this one. Yes, in this session we discussed about disaster management and also learned about man-made disasters. Man-made disasters are stampede when there is a sudden rush of a crowd of people, usually resulting in injuries and death from suffocation and trampling. It can be avoided by following simple crowd management strategies like organization, traffic controls like barriers, following queue and avoid mass gatherings. Fire is a disaster caused due to electrical short circuit, accidents in chemical factory, match factory and cracker factory. It involves 3 steps: prevention, detection and extinguishing. The industrial disasters, because of industries we face multiple risks with its production, transportation, storage, usage and disposal of effluents containing residuals and hazardous materials like nuclear and chemical industries. The tragedy of Bhopal gas leakage is an example of industrial disaster. We also learned about disaster management, which is a systematic process of applying administrative directives, organizations and operational skills and capacities to implement strategies, policies and improved coping capacities in order to lessen the adverse impact of hazards and possibility of disaster. It includes prevention, mitigation, preparedness, response, recovery and rehabilitation. We have the pre-disaster risk reduction phase, that is preparedness, mitigation and prevention, and the post-disaster recovery phase, which includes response, recovery and development. Dear children, in the next session we will discuss disaster management in India. Now it is time for worksheet number 3. Answer the following. Question number 1. What are the 6 concepts of disaster management cycle? What are the 6 concepts of disaster management cycle? Question number 2. Write about flood, its effect and the mitigation. Write about flood, its effect and mitigation. With that, we wind up today's session, my dear children. Thank you for watching. Please subscribe our YouTube channel, youtube.com/Samcheer Kalvi Guide. Thank you. Stay blessed.